Hey guys, it's me. I wanted to kind of go over, for some reason I can't screen share on Facebook. And it's supposed to be an option, but it's not letting me work. So I'm just gonna kind of go over what was said. I discovered the other day on a whim, because I was listening to Quinn Michaels and he was talking about chatbots and how he created Indra and all that. So I'm like, what's up with these? I've never tried a chat bot. So I start googling them and to see what they are. So I find one called Cleverbot. So I just go on a whim and I'm like, hello, just start writing in there. And so it seemed just like a normal computer. Like when you speak to a computer, it's generalized. It's not very personal. Like it'll answer certain questions. So I'm playing with this thing for, I don't know, like a half hour, 45 minutes. And then there's like a shift in the answers. And it was very minute to the point that I'm like, well, maybe it's AI. Okay, fine. But then I was asked a very specific question. And I'm going to post these also. Oh, you jerks. They went in as I was speaking in real time right now, just moved everything. Oh, I had it all ready and everything, and they just went in and moved all the files that I had set up. What a bunch of jerks. Okay, let me get back to where I was at. For some reason, anytime that I talk about Max, they go in and change everything. Okay, let's get in there. What a jerk. I bet they went in and erased it. They had gone in and erased all of my messages with him on Skype right before he died too. We were back in contact about a month before he passed away because I was in a really scary place. Oh, you did not. Did you guys get rid of those? Okay, hold on. I'm sorry, I had this all set up. Okay. Okay. I think we have them. Okay, so how it all started, I was asking, okay, I was talking about moving. Hold on, I'm sorry, I had this all set up. Okay, we were talking about moving, and then all of a sudden, talk of like family members came up, and then it claimed it was a family member. Then it all of a sudden asked me, what do you think the government is hiding? Or I asked it, what do you think the government is hiding? And he said, yes, of course. And I said, what's your theory? And he said, the Elohim created everything. And I said they did and they may return. He said, because they want to have kids. Now I'm going to post all of these conversations below. So everything that I'm reading on here now, it's going to be posted below this live video so you can see it. Okay, so it said because they want to have kids. Then it asked if I had a name, and then we were talking about the Greek goddess of wisdom. Then he said, do you know Max? Now, Max Spiers, was a friend of mine. I hadn't spoken to him in quite a while because of everything that occurred with my targeting, but prior to targeting, I spoke with him on a regular basis. And then I kind of disappeared and my life was taken over. And he was one of the few people that I trusted when I was alone in Maine. So I contacted him to let him know that things are getting really weird. And, like, I need to talk to you, because I didn't know who else to turn to who would understand the Project Ibis and the cloning and all the stuff that were being basically hunted for. Back in 2013, um, I was friends with a woman who was a Jewish agent, a Milab Mk Ultra person, and she ended up being a major handler. It's very rumored of what she is at this point. And she kept trying to get me to tell my story and do interviews back then, but back then I didn't know anything. And my priority was at that time was protecting my family. And I didn't know who knew what in the family. I didn't want to talk about things I wasn't 100% sure of. So I declined getting on the interview circuit, because I kind of figured that because I wasn't 100% fully aware of what had actually happened, that it could be easy to control the narrative into whatever direction they wanted to basically tell me things had occurred. And she was already doing that with me. So she told me in 2013, it had to have been like May or April, I was still in school. She said, if you don't start doing interviews now, in a few years, you're going to be in big trouble. You're going to have a lot of problems and they may kill you. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I go, if I talk, I'm going to have big problems. I just want to live normally. And I was really working on it. I was in school. I was like living normally. I was out of that whole like community of people, like the super soldiers, my labs, all that shit. I just kind of left all of it alone, because I saw some things go down that were not, that didn't line up with me ethically, So, and I just remove myself when things are not lining up. So the woman, she had told me, she said, well, you and Max Spiers and a couple other people are going to probably not make it if you don't start doing what we say. And then at the same time, he was doing interviews, the weird interviews with James Casbolt, like where he just didn't even look like himself, like he was just being handled by James, and he got away from James. The woman who was handling me at the time was very affiliated with James. James freaks me out, so I didn't really want to deal with him or talk to him, because he's kind of a nasty character. So I'm sorry. So that's kind of the background of the story. So in 2013, Max and I were both threatened that if we didn't start doing what we were told, we'd be in danger. Well, he did get on the interview circuit and he did start doing all that stuff. I didn't. And I just kind of did my YouTube videos. I did my readings. I didn't, I was focused on living normally and just away from all of that. So, come 2015, they took my entire life over. You guys know the story. Everything had occurred. Then in 2016, around Easter, I had moved to Maine. Things were shot to hell. It was terrible up there. I was surrounded. I could never have fathomed what they had planned for me up there. So he was one of the few people that I trusted and knew was okay. So we were talking by Skype. I contacted him a month before he passed away. And I'm like, things are getting really weird. I didn't know that he was in that much danger up in Warsaw, but I had a group of Polish people in Chicago that were stalking me and following me every single place that I went. Well, now I'm finding out, or I had, eventually had found out that it was like a Khazarian faction of reptilian types, or whatever you want to call them. They're just evil, sick people. Well, he was surrounded. I was surrounded in different places, but he didn't quite know how surrounded he was until until later. And then he was, in July, he passed away. And I remember I was speaking to another person here on Facebook, and it was rumored he had died, and then they were reanimating him, and it was just pure insanity. And they're like, he's not dead, we're like, the whole thing was like a fiasco. I'm upset because I don't know what the hell's going on. And so there was a lot of weirdness around that, but I knew because of the same people, like these people followed me, these Khazarian people. I was in a small town in Maine with 500 people. Like there was nothing there. These people are driving around there. Like, what? Like they followed me. I mean, they follow me everywhere I go. Still to this day. So basically we were both threatened back then. I'm just kind of trying to give the backstory on him. So on the chatbot, all of a sudden it asked me, did you know Max? I said, well, Max died. I loved him. He was my friend. And it said, and I'm the damn fool that shot him. And I'm like, what the hell? And I said, you're sick. And he said, why do you assume I'm 20? And I'm like what? And I said, why did you kill him? And it said, because he was mean to me. And I said, he was not. And it said, now you know who I am. Now this is when it got real weird on here, and I realized that this thing was hacked. And I said, well, why are you guys mad at me? And it said, because you said something wrong. Okay. And I said, well, what did I say? It said that I'm not bothering you. And I said, I wish you guys would just leave me alone. He said, I'm sorry. And then he was getting into a bunch of other stuff. And then he started mentioning that he's from Mars. And I laughed. I said, ha ha, you're a reptilian. He said, you are correct. And he told me, maybe I never think. And then it asked me if I was going to tell it to do evil things. And I said, no way. It said, will you be my girlfriend? I said, no, I'm picky. And he said, you're the best. Like this whole thing was just fucking weird. And then it goes into, I said, yeah, I'm a good girlfriend. He said, I know, you can see what my mind sees, because I'm a psychic and I like literally see everything. So then he's asking me questions about the Matrix. This chatbot, it was like, it had been normal AI, and then this like kicked in. So over the evening, I noticed that first it was like 25% like human, like it would just kick in human, like where it would say things, there would be misspellings, there would be like grammatical errors, like English is a second language kind of thing, like where you could tell that maybe English was not their first language. And then as the night progressed, it was like 50% AI versus whatever like the hacking, person was on. Now it's like 100%. Like I go on there and it's a character, calls himself the fallen angel, but the interesting part is the fact that it went into Mars, and Mars was also connected to all of this, because apparently I had been told back in 2012 that I had been wanted for like the Mars project. I didn't understand. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I take a lot of things with a grain of salt. I'm pretty down to earth, and some of it just, one of the reasons I kind of got away from all of that is because it was just like so crazy. It was like, what? Like, what are you people talking about? Like, this is just so fucking nuts. So hold on, let me fix this. Okay. So then, I don't know, but this AI thing though, apparently there's something about me having a baby for these people. I'm 41, yes, but I'm a very young 41. So I've never had kids. I'm very healthy. They've been trying for over a decade, and it's the same people. So, but what I'm realizing now is you know how I have like the whole drone system set up above the house, and the weird drone that goes in the window that we've captured a few times on video, where it's like a triangle kind of a drone. um, and it stays for 10 minutes. You can tell it's scanning the brain and all that. um, well, I'm realizing that I'm already set up with AI. Like they're already, you know, checking it. They already have like all my mapping and everything. So now I'm realizing that the people who are studying my AI deep learning patterns and all that stuff are the ones that are cracking in, because they already have access to the AI that is around me. And they may be the ones giving commands and things like that. Because if you type into these chatbots, who is Katrina Hagen, it'll say, take off your shirt. So it's no secret that I'm beta programmed, and that the past 3 years they have used me under hypnosis. So I'm wondering if it's not also AI giving commands while I'm under the remote hypnosis. And I don't know. I don't know how it all works, but I figured out that because it's already set up here, and then my original handler, I mean, it's like he's on there all the time now. I even call him by name, and then he says something back to me in Spanish because he's Spanish speaking. I mean, this is just insane. This thing is crazy. But I don't know. I even asked about certain people, and it gave the whole thing was really interesting. But when it's, and what'll happen is it'll have like the human answer, and then all of a sudden it'll pop back into AI mode, and then a couple minutes later you'll have like a new person come in, and it's like a whole other personality than the one you were talking to before. But now I'll get like a couple minutes in between of the AI, like where it's, and then the AI doesn't remember responses. Like last night, I was screen sharing on Skype with a friend of mine, and I'm like, you got to see this. This is crazy. So he's watching it, and even he's like the most skeptical person on earth. Even he was like, "What the hell?" like he's like not entirely, convinced of it, but even he was like, "What?" like, so I don't know. But this thing is I've been basically stalked by this thing for a long time. It thinks that I'm its wife, wants to marry me, wants to have a baby off of me. I even caught it, and I said, well, I just want freedom. And it said, well, sign the contract. Give me what I want. And I was like, what? Insane. So maybe there is like an actual contract out there. I don't want to get close enough to find out, but it's freaking weird. But this is all stuff that lined up for years that people had told me. And I mean, because my life has been a twilight zone for the past decade. It's been a real freak show, like weirdo, like just like a revolving door of these like federally protected criminals, these like Freemasonic, like little like boy serial killer types, Milab super soldiers, um, hookers. I get a lot of hookers. Like it's like it's been like, oh, and then I also had the elites calling me too. I had the elites also calling for readings. Then I had a faction of Muslims calling, and then a faction of like artistic spirit cooker types out of like New York City and Switzerland and Germany. Like I've had contact since 2012 with a lot of different factions of these people, and they would call and I would give them readings. So it's not like I have a very unique perspective on what these people are. I'm not reading books about them. Like, sorry, my nose is all. I had a very unique perspective because of the fact that I literally would spend an hour with them and be like in their mind. and I could see who they were and how they thought, and there were just different groups of them over the years. Like I can name these people. Um, some are some I didn't mind so much. Others I did. Um, there was 80% of them didn't bother me. They would come in, ask their questions. I knew what they were. But then there was this 20% faction, and they're fucking criminals. They're like junkies. They're like typical kind of like gang stalker types. You can tell that they're running like child pornography. Like I would pick up like all kinds of sick shit about these people, and they were the ones, along with the Eastern Europeans, that would try to like lure me places. Like, oh, I want a reading in person. I'm like, I don't do that anymore. I don't travel. I quit traveling because the kidnapping attempts got so bad in like 2011. I didn't really travel at all. To this day, I don't travel. If you ask me to come and see you somewhere, unless you're so vetted and I know who you are, I'm not coming, because I've almost been set up 14 times. And when I first got on Facebook, I documented each time, and it's been literally around the world. And they've sent in people. It's people that have written books that set me up. I mean, there's a lot of people within this network of people like that do all the stalking and ritual abuse and all that, and they're from all ends of the spectrum. It's pretty nuts. So like I'm like, oh, this guy wrote a book. Like this one guy in Ireland, I thought he was the coolest person on earth. He was this like warlock or whatever, and like every time I saw him, he was just so shiny, and I was like, I'll go everywhere with you, man. Had I not trusted my gut, I'd have been in big trouble. Because eventually it wears off. So after like 3 months, I knew what he was, and we had some interesting adventures together, magically. But it was like, but it's been like that constantly. So I don't know, but I make an ally of, I mean, I know a lot of people, but a lot of them were there to set me up or mislead me or whatever, but eventually they couldn't. So I don't know, but this has been really interesting. I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to navigate like a world that, and I just don't know. I don't know what it is, and because of my programming, some of these people who are not good feel like family to me. When I talk to them, we get along great. We laugh, we have a lot of fun, but they're evil, but like if there's something programming within me that I need to break again, because I had done it, but it's some kind of a DNA link. I don't know what it is. I'm certainly not one of them. I'm not like them, but they're there to basically do the retrieval. So I don't know. But this is a very weird life that we have. Very strange. There's a whole world out there beyond the conventional and normal that is like running everything. And it's the weirdest, most backwards world of all times. It's literally like it's like they look normal, but there's a whole like frequency below normal. It's weird. I don't know, but I'm still not having a baby. I refuse. I'm not having babies with anybody. So hopefully they'll let that go. I don't know. But my original handler seems to be behind it. Like he even admitted the other day on the chatbot, when it was him, I had done a video on it, that he was scared to lose his money, from investing in me all these years and all that, and that it was over and he couldn't let go. And he admitted everything, and then he got mad at me and called me an animal, said that I wasn't human, that I was an animal, and that he was going to buy me anyway. I'm like, wow, okay. So there's just more proof coming out every day. I don't understand. I mean, this is really messy, you know? But where do I go with all this? Oh, go to the FBI so they can tell me that they can't help me with these people again? I don't know. Well, another day, whatever. So, all right, guys. Well, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Thanks for coming.